again at the gorgeous table by Taru, where we are celebrating the Cargills International Women's Day Festival. This is day 3 of a 4-part series called the Changemakers. And up to now, we have met a series of inspiring and successful individuals. So needless to say, I am very excited about what today is going to be all about. Stay tuned. This is Hi Online. Savitri, who looks amazing as usual. How are you doing, Savitri?
I'm doing well, except a little hot.
Yes, it is quite. So what can you tell us about today's subject, which is creative forces?
So what we thought of was getting 3 women in 3 different artistic disciplines to come and tell us a little bit about their stories, about how they navigate their spaces in technically a very male-dominated area, that is the art. So art, basically, writing, and also dance, Kandyan dance specifically, which is a very male-dominated sphere. And so we had Taji Dias, who is the principal dancer of the Chitrasena Dance Company, and we had Amina Hussain, who's an author as well as co-founder of Pereira Hussain Publishing House, and we had Leila Gonadu, an interdisciplinary artist who also won the Pro Helvetia Swiss Residency Award last year.
Right, so what did you hope to tackle in terms of little topics or subjects?
So primarily it is because there are lots of, well, all women I think have a certain creative gene in them, but the ones who can actually make a go of it, whether it's in the arts or dance or writing or even music or singing, hold back a bit, because the to get ahead in those areas can be a little difficult, especially culturally. That was one area I wanted to touch. The second area I wanted to touch was actually the challenges each of these women have had in achieving what they have. Amina in her books, in her writing, Leila because she works a lot with very heavy materials, like she cuts wood and she bends metal, and she does physical work for her art. So how she works that. And Taji, who is a Kandyan dancer, and Kandyan dancing, like I said, is a very male-dominated area. But with her grandmother being one of the being a pioneer professional Kandyan dancer, she has managed to use, that as her way of stating and being there with her art.
That's fantastic. And finally, what do you hope for the audience to take away, be it women, men, or even non-binary folk?
Actually, again, this conversation of gender equality is for everyone, and especially those who want to get into the creative arts. I think just go for it. It is very difficult. Taji said sometimes you need a supportive partner and you need a supportive family, because it is tough. These are areas that are non-conventional, so it's difficult. But then if you've got it, just try and work around the system, work around your family, try and do whatever you can, and at the end of the day, you're creative. You will find a way to do it.
That is inspiring. Thank you so much, Savitri, for talking to us.
Thank you for having me every day on your show.
Hi, so I have with me the beautiful Leila. Hi, Leila. How are you doing?
Great, I'm doing great. Thank
That's
you.
lovely. So you call yourself an interdisciplinary artist. What can you tell us about that?
So interdisciplinary simply means that I use different medium to translate my thoughts and ideas into work. So it could be text, it could be drawing, paint, it could be enamel, copper, wood. So it simply means that interdisciplinary, you do different things to, not just drawing, to translate the work into art. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So across your experiences, have you come across gender bias or any objectification in the industry?
in the industry, well, okay, simply as a woman translating work, or we are laying ourselves bare through our work. So there is definitely how you will look at the work, and how you will look at the person who has done the work is very different to how you would look if it was a male. So definitely there are biases there. I think at the end of the day, we want an equal platform. I can speak for all artists. We want our work to be judged because of content, because of the relevance, because of, conceptually how strong it is, and because of our skill. And it shouldn't be judged or given the opportunity because we are women. But it's unfortunate that we have come to this point, all this time, because of the omission of women in a lot of things, and having very little opportunity. We've had to create this separate platform for our voices to heard. So it is unfortunate.
Right. So you traveled across or within Sri Lanka for 3 months, and you must have met various individuals. So what has your experience been in terms of witnessing gender equality or equal opportunities?
I can't really speak for gender equality because it's not much there, but there is equality when it comes to spending your whole salary on your family, and that is accepted by a female, contributing to the family, what she earns. But I met a lot of really kick-ass, bold women out there from villages who are curious, and I think with the right influence, if they are exposed, they will be more than brave enough to be out there, because a lot of the times when I met them, there was curiosity in them. There was wonder that something like this is possible, for a woman to travel alone and just kind of go into their community and just blend in and do her work. So there was awe as well as wonder, and then there was well, if she can do it, I can do it. So that was great. So I came across that many times, and I think there is hope definitely where women are concerned.
All right, that is Leila. Thank you so much, Leila, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have with me Amina here. Hi, Amina, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
If you could tell me a little bit about what it is like for a woman to be a writer in terms of freedom or perception.
So I think a woman will always have a different perception. An individual has a different perception, and a lot of it could be colored by your gender. So I know that my perception is colored a lot by being a woman. When you say freedom, that could be a tough one. It depends on what sort of freedoms you carve out for yourself. So the freedom within the family, the freedom socially, the freedom politically, and within the country. It's a lot of negotiation. I would say that all your life, whatever, as a woman, whatever work you do, whatever, even if you don't work, even if you're a stay-at-home mom or a wife, there's a lot of negotiation that happens. And so even writers have to negotiate the space.
Right, so diving into one of the books that you published, you received quite a bit of response that you did not expect.
Was that 15 that you were talking about?
Yes.
So 15, I think, really shook people up because it was considered bold for that time. It's not bold today. I mean, so many writers are writing about different issues, but it wrote about strong women, about sexuality, both heterosexual and homosexual. And when it went up for the Gratian shortlist, I think because it may have been a bit, disconcerting and maybe uncomfortable for certain members of the audience. So they described the book as man-hating, but I think it was just for that time because 15 has gone on to be one of my bestsellers. So I think maybe at that time it just shook things up a little bit.
And now?
Now they love, there are people who come and tell me 15 is my best book.
Lovely. So Going on to today's panel discussion, they tackled numerous topics. What stuck with you the most?
So the starkest fact was that both Taji and Layla are very physical in their work. So one's a dancer, one's a painter, and I'm a writer, and there is no physicality involved. There's a lot of sitting around, a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and I always wondered about that. Like, when I see Laila's work and I know the amount of physical labor that goes in, and I think so. Writers are it's intellectual property. Artists and dancers also have a thought process, but everything that we think of gets on a page. That's what struck me. The other was that I think all three of us represented different angles of women creatives. So Taji is a third generation dancer, and so she is continuing her family's legacy. I am a writer in the English language in Sri Lanka, which is a niche. It's actually a niche position because we're not talking about Sinhala and Tamil writers. And Laila is a painter, a physical painter in very much a man's world. So I think all of us brought to the table different aspects, and I was really struck by how complex and detailed, the subject can be.
All right, thank you so much, Amina, for being with us.
Thank you so much for asking me.
Hi, I have with me Taji, the principal dancer of the Chitra Sena Dance Company. Hi, Taji, how are you doing?
Well, hope you are too.
Thank you, I am. So, why do you suppose you were invited to join today's panel?
I think for me it's just trying to kind of bring a different perspective to the whole conversation, because I actually come from a family which is very female driven, even though the whole art form or the dance was brought onto the stage by a male who is my grandfather, Guru Chitrasena. So I think kind of bringing that perspective into the panel discussion where as a dancer, how it has been for me to kind of grow and imbibe that female spirit and still continue this male dominant art form.
Right. So, as you said, Canadian dancing is quite male dominant. And how do you or women in general go about the restrictions or the opportunities that are offered by the masculine or feminine styles?
Well, in one sense, it's just not really about only for us. It's a lot in the training that we go through, and so the training itself is very so. Like for us, 3 generations of the family have had, and the company have had female leads as principal dancers. So. And it doesn't mean that we have not had males in the company. So for me, there has always been this kind of equilibrium where, it hasn't been very difficult for me to come forward as a female and perform and do what I need to do, because my male counterparts as dancers or performers, they always supported me. But it's also the kind of dynamic we create in our workspace. So I think it's very important that, when you're working for an organization, that it kind of supports the females and the males in the same way. Like little things like, like there are certain social perceptions that women have to do certain things and men have to do certain things. But, in my workspace, we all do everything, like from sweeping to mopping to cleaning to making tea to so not just the technique or the technique aspect of the dance, but everything else kind of works around to create that comfortable space for a male and a female in the same way. So
Nice, truly fascinating. And lastly, you again mentioned that the pioneers in the music or dance industry were typically men. So how do you or any woman in general go about tackling these gender norms or breaking these barriers?
So I think those first generation artists, who actually brought these art forms onto a stage. So the art form that I do is born from a village ritual. So my grandfather was one of the pioneers who brought that art form onto the stage about 60 years ago, 60, 70 years ago. So I think not just in dance, but dance, music, theatre, the pioneers were male, like Amradeva, Sarat Chandra, and in cinema, Lester James Peary. So a lot of, and then for the dance, it was Chitra Sena. But so a lot of people have that in their mind. But when it came to the second generation, to my grandmother's time, there were females who were coming out and, you know, making a mark in these industries. So in one sense, for us, it's, as third generation, fourth generation artists, it's actually been much easier to break through, and I really hope that there are more females who come forward and break through and just take that plunge and just do it, you know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Taji, for joining us.
Most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hi, so this is a wrap on today's event. Once again, this was the Cargills International Women's Day Festival, the Changemakers. I am absolutely in awe of the brilliant and successful women that we met today, and I hope you are too. I am Ninuri Asalia, and this is Hi Online.